About 30 minutes ago, San Antonio and Bexar County leaders wrapped up an update on the winter weather response. Eyewitness News anchor Audrey Casadeno was listening in. And Audrey, closures will continue tomorrow.
That's right, Sharon. All city-run COVID test sites, including the Alamo Dome mass vaccination site, will be closed tomorrow. Now, solid waste services will resume tomorrow, but that's not until 11 a.m. But for tonight, they're really emphasizing to stay off those roads, like Alana mentioned. The city says public work crews, along with TxDOT, will continue spreading salt and checking bridges and roadways until about midnight tonight. Now, San Antonio Police Chief William McManus says they've responded to 47 minor incident calls, 30 major incident calls today, and 43 traffic calls. Most of those were water related. Now, Rudy Garza with CPS Energy says the main reason for today's outages that some people saw was all that ice, wind, and downed trees. Overall, 98,000 customers saw some sort of outage. 37,000 had those longer sustained outages. CPS also responded to 50 wire down orders.
I will tell you that, it is no small feat to work through 32,000 outage, customers out over a 12-hour period. So while I know it's cold and that we continue to work, I just want to reiterate our linemen are some of the best in the business and really.
Garza adds that they hope to have everyone back online with power by midnight tonight. And if they don't meet that deadline at your house, they say they're going to contact you and let you know that you probably should make other arrangements for this evening. Sharon?
Thank you, Audrey. Let's continue our coverage of the power situation. KENS 5 consumer reporter Nicole Kahn tells us when the state will see peak demand, but we'll start with Eyewitness News reporter Zach Briggs and the CPS customers in the dark and cold. Zach?
Well, Sharon, good evening. While many residents are still without power, and they have been since early this morning, there are others like Shelley Belden who are grateful to say, let there be light, or perhaps more importantly, let there be heat. Now, I did catch up with her earlier this morning. Power went out at the Belden residence around 6:45. They live in the Summerway neighborhood. Belden was thinking, oh, here we go again. Last February, that winter storm leaving Belden and her husband powerless for several days, but thankfully, she had family nearby to help out. Now, back to today, about a few hours or so after the outage, the lamps turned back on. Belden says the power has been a little wonky going in and out. However, she is worried about what the next couple days will look like. Take a listen.
Of course, it's just a fear of being cold and not being able to get warm food and all that. My husband is disabled and so it's hard for him. We're just hoping the power will stay on today and we won't go through that anymore.
Meanwhile, CPS Energy crews are working around the clock to get those power lines fixed and ensure people have light and that they have heat and that they're able to live comfortably over the next several days. For now, we're live on the north side. Zach Briggs, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Zach. Despite the local outages we're seeing, the power grid statewide has remained stable and steady so far. KENS 5 consumer reporter Nicole Kahn has been monitoring the grid all day.
I certainly have, Sharon, and it looks like the power grid is going to hold. I spoke with several energy experts today, and they all are confident we shouldn't see huge statewide outages like we did last February. I know some people are without power right now, but those outages are local, and hopefully they'll be short. The governor said earlier today is waiving some regulations so 2,000 extra linemen can come to Texas to help fix down lines more quickly. But we're not out of the clear, not just yet. The biggest challenge for the power grid is still to come. That'll be tomorrow morning. The peak demand for energy will be from 6 to 10 a.m. with the highest demand happening at 8 a.m. But there are actions you can take to help keep the lights on for everyone.
Make sure any lights you're not using are off, any fans, setting, your thermostat set points to, 67 instead of, 72 or something like that. Even if you don't have electric heat, even if you have natural gas heat, you do use a lot of electricity for the blowers to blow that air around your house. And so during that time, if everyone kind of conserves a little bit, I think we can keep the lights on for everyone.
So let's take a look at what ERCOT supply and demand looks like with this graph. Demand is that blue line on the bottom. Power available is the purple line on the top. When those lines cross, well, that's when there will be an issue of not maybe having enough power. But you can see the supply is higher than the demand throughout today, and there's still plenty of white on that graph between those two lines. Of course, we'll be watching that line closely all night and tomorrow morning. But even if supply and demand get really close, well, that's not entirely unusual. Nicole Kahn, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.